Here we go. I don't know if anybody's here yet, but welcome to Heart and Soul Connected. I'm Aley, and I'm here today with Colleen, the Cool Crone. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. I love your choice of name.
Thank
And
you.
I would love and that's the name of her channel, is the Cool Crone. And Colleen does, I believe you do tarot as well as astrology and several other psychic readings and things like that. Yeah. And so, and she's been working at the Renaissance Fair, right? Is that right?
The New York Renaissance Fair. Yeah, it just ended a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, okay. How do you dress up, like a fortune teller, or?
Everybody that works at the fair needs to dress in a period costume. So you have to wear corsets or bodices and long skirts, like multiple skirts. And you always have to have something on your head, and you can only wear certain colors, and they're
wow.
They're
now I've been to several in the past. Oh, Anita Larson said, I've been to that fair. That's cool. That's great. Yeah. I've gone to the Texas Renaissance Fair, which has its own land, actually, that they use for that. And look at everybody coming in. Love the Cool Crone. Yay.
Thanks.
Yeah. And Sin says, already subscribed. There you go.
Great. Great. Now,
thank you, ladies.
Can I see the chat, or because
you should be able to? You should. If you look at the to the right side, you'll see it says, I think you're probably on either private chat or whatever. Go to comments on the far right, and you should.
Yep, there it is. Okay, that's
there they are. Yep.
Great.
If I get questions or anything, I usually put them up so you can see them bigger. But yeah, you can talk to the chat anytime you want.
Oh, that's awesome.
Isn't it?
Look at that. That's fantastic.
So yes, I've been to the Renaissance Fairs. One year went to the Connecticut Renaissance Fair, and I was dressed up like the queen, and I was able to be a chessboard piece for a chess game.
Cool.
Cool. It was so much fun. Yeah. You've done it for a number of years, haven't you?
Yeah. There's a woman up there who has a couple of different booths. So she works in one booth, and then I work in another one. And this year they asked her to do, because a couple of people couldn't come back because of COVID.
Oh, sure.
So they asked a couple of my friends to sit in those booths. So we had, the whole gang was up there. It was great.
It must have felt so good after having not had it last year, right?
Yeah. It was.
Yeah, you get used to that. Of course. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm, I already got off sort of on a tangent here, but I did want to say that you were, you had been recommended to me by someone who knew who you were. And then you and I talked and kind of figured, and we've gotten past the Mercury retrograde. Hallelujah.
Yes.
I know. It's been a hell of a Mercury retrograde.
Yes.
But, so we waited until the Mercury retrograde was over. So, and that was probably a good idea, because I've had other people on and there were problems with electronics and just exactly what you So let's see. Sandra says she hasn't been to the Renaissance Festival in decades, but I like the turkey drumsticks. Oh yeah. Those are awesome. And I always love to see the beautiful leather work that some of the vendors have, and the metal work. It's just awesome. Yeah. And of course, it's always nice to see the readers and all that. Yeah. A lot of fun. If you've never been to a Renaissance festival, everybody, you got to try it once, and you don't have to dress up to go.
No.
But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
It is such a great event, and you can, it can be family friendly, but if you just want an excuse to day drink, there you go.
Right. There you go.
It's just perfect for that. And you can,
it really is. It really is.
And the silver workers, the leather workers, but all sorts of crafts. I mean, they have people who make soaps, they have oils and incense, they have people who make those beautiful flower garland things for your hair.
Yes.
really any kind of hat you can think of, and
any kind of hat. Yep.
Jewelry. I love the jewelry. There's some jewelry makers.
A lot of beautiful jewelry there. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, but I went a couple of times with no costume, and I had a very good time. Sure. But I think it's more fun getting dressed. I even dressed up my then dog into a king's. She had a king's or a queen's crown on, and she had a little. Got a lot of people that liked it. Yeah,
that's adorable. I love it. That's great. Yeah,
it's fun. Yeah. So, Colleen, tell us a little bit about how were you born a psychic or interested in the spiritual, or when did this all develop for you?
Well, I certainly was very young when I got interested in astrology. I remember, and I know I've told this story, so some people, I'm sorry if you've heard me tell this story before, but when I learned how to read, I had, grown up. I was the youngest of 4 kids, and I had grown up watching my dad read the paper at the breakfast table. And when I learned how to read, the first thing I wanted to read was the horoscopes, because I'd heard my siblings, sometimes they'd read out the horoscopes for the day for everybody.
Right.
As kind of a lark, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I knew it wasn't a lark. I knew there was something to it. So that's the first thing I wanted to do when I learned how to read. And then my brother, who was quite a bit older than me, went away to college, and he knew I was interested in all this stuff. I mean, you name it, I was interested in it. Tarot, astrology, witchcraft, all that woo-woo jazz. I was into it. And he came back home from college with a girlfriend who was an astrologer.
Oh, and wow.
She helped me pick out some books at a bookstore, which wasn't easy to find stuff.
No, it wasn't.
In the 60s,
Not in the 60s. Mm-hmm.
There wasn't that much to choose from, but she helped me get going. And by the time I was 10, I was throwing charts for people and doing readings.
Wow, that's amazing. I remember starting out, I believe it wasn't how to do, the ephemeris or any of that, but I remember reading Linda Goodman's Love Signs or one of those types of books. And I carried it with me everywhere. It was just it was so wonderful. Yeah.
She's a double Aries. She's quite.
Is she really? I didn't know. Oh, okay. I didn't realize.
Double Aries. Yeah. Because in those days you had to learn how to do all the math, and it took like
Yep.
It took like 3 hours to do all the calculations. It was a big.
It's like doing taxes back then. Yep. Everything by hand. Yeah.
I also like doing taxes. So
do I. I used to do it for 30 years. But once we got the computer, oh my God, I could whip them right out.
Piece of cake.
I think we talked about this. You have a Capricorn rising, don't you?
Yeah, we're both with Capricorn rising.
Capricorn risings. Yes. Yeah. Did you have a good birthday?
I had a wonderful birthday.
Oh, that's good.
That's beautiful birthday. Yeah.
That's awesome. The lady I had on this morning, Terry, her birthday's tomorrow, another Libra, so a lot of Libras. But so you and I do like the same things and for the same reasons, because we just like paperwork, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and probably we just draw to it those other people who need us to do it. So
absolutely.
Combination.
It's a great combination. And I used to have to take them, and people would come in with boxes of receipts and things. And I'd say, you can't do those for me and add them up, So I'd take on the job. But wow. Yeah. A lot of people totally clueless.
Yeah. Now my moon in Virgo, I would look at those receipts and go, oh, I can't wait to organize all of that.
That is a Virgo. You're right. And now see, I have the Pisces moon. So my moon says, oh, not interested. Mm-hmm. I'm emotional about it,
It's fun though. It's good.
Yeah, it is fun. So you became then obviously an astrologer first?
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay?
That was my first thing.
All right.
My sister bought me a deck of tarot cards for my birthday when I was 10. And I looked at them and I was like, what do you do with these things? Well, they weren't the Rider Waite tarot cards. They were this French deck that I think I still have that are.
I had that one too. The Marseille.
Yeah.
I got that one first too. And it's like, I don't get this. I'm not French.
It was very hard. It was very hard. And then someone bought me the a little mini deck of the Rider Waite, the white ones with the little gold in the back. And I kept those forever. Then it started to make sense. I looked at the pictures and I was like, oh, you just kind of read the pictures, right? Okay, I can do this.
Really?
So,
yeah.
That was
and there is no wrong way to read them. Everybody reads them differently or whatever, and it's okay. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So you got into that. And anything else like palm reading or I don't know any of the.
I do palm reading.
Really?
Yeah, I do palm reading. I don't know that I'm super good at it, but I'm good enough that at the fair, if somebody wants a palm read, I can read their palms. I can go on for a while about stuff in their palms. And I found, the more you do stuff like where you have to actually touch people, the easier it is to kind of tune in to their vibe.
Sure, that makes sense.
Much easier, yeah. So, I mean, I tried to do numerology and it makes sense to me and I can do it, but it's not as exciting to me as tarot and astrology and the other stuff.
Understood. Everybody likes certain things. So that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And I got to admit, I relate everything back to astrology.
Do you?
Finn McGann is saying, wondering if Colleen has studied any Vedic astrology. I'm a Taurus with moon and ascendant Scorpio. Vedic is Libra, Aries. Yes, I have studied a little bit of Vedic astrology. It takes even longer to learn Vedic astrology than it does to learn Western astrology. But the big difference is that Vedic astrology takes into account the whole wobble of the earth in the universe. So what Vedic astrologers use in their ephemeris is the book that gives us the location of the planets so that we can plot your horoscope against those locations. And in Vedic astrology, they're using the actual locations of the planets. Now, that's actual as our perspective shows us from here on Earth. So we're looking at Earth as the center. And then if you look out with a telescope and plot where all the planets are, that's what Vedic uses. What Western tropical astrology uses is it looks at the traditional placements of the planets where they are at certain times of year. But they started plotting this like 2,000 years ago, and they didn't really update it. So somehow they figured out calculations too that go out onto millennia about where the planets are going to be, sort of, and that's what we use in Western astrology. I mean, that's probably not a great explanation of it, but the Vedic, I know that that's actually what they do. Yeah. And so there is always going to be, like right now, I think there's somewhere between 20 and 23 degree difference between where your sun is in Vedic astrology and where it is in Western astrology. The bottom line, though, is that you're going to get a lot of the same information. Vedic astrology is much more exacting and does predictions much easier than using typical Western astrology. So if you want someone to really predict everything in your life, find a Vedic astrologer.
That's exactly what Sin said. She said, wouldn't it be more accurate? Yeah.
Well, it's not more accurate because of the planetary placements. It's more accurate because of the system of astrology that they use. I see. And it's more accurate with predictions. And it's very, very black and white, very cut and dried with predictions. But they take into account so many more celestial objects or points than we do. With Western astrology, there's, basically the planets, the sun and the moon, the asteroids, the minor planets, they call them too. A few Arabian points, the houses and the signs. In Vedic astrology, they also include something like 226 fixed stars just as a starter. Now, we use stars occasionally now, but maybe like a handful, not 226. Most people don't.
But you could buy the astrology program for Vedic, I would imagine, and that does all that calculating. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. That's absolutely
just like with regular. Yeah.
Yep, that's absolutely right. Yeah.
I had no idea. I do know that my husband listens sometimes to what's her name? Joni Patri, I think her name is. Vedic, you know who she is? Yeah. She does Vedic, and it's always so disastrous when
I
when I listen
know.
to it.
I
Yeah.
know. I used to
Yeah.
listen to her too, and I'm like, God, she's always predicting doom and gloom.
She is. Yeah.
When Trump was running for president, she was predicting all these magnificent things for him. He was going to be so great for the United States. He was going to save us. He was just,
Oh.
and I was like, really? Okay, well, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
I look at what she was looking at, and I realize that, yeah, he has had a profound effect upon the United States.
Oh, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't say it's particularly positive, but he has had a big effect. And the
Yes.
end result, when we finish reacting to all the stuff that he did, the end result will be probably very positive in the changes that it makes
And
in
the
our
changes,
laws.
because it was a push. It was a real push. Yeah,
Yes,
I
he was an
agree.
instigator. So
He was.
maybe that's
Yep.
what she was thinking. But then that makes me question her interpretations, because she sees so much sunshine on him, and yet when she's predicting just monthly, it's so dark and disastrous. So I don't
Every
know.
time I've listened, I've been going, "Oh my God, I don't want to." It just seems like it's always negative. But I've only listened a couple times because
Yeah.
she doesn't resonate with me that well. But
No.
I just thought it was interesting, and I knew she was Vedic because
Yep.
my husband knows no difference. A lot of people don't know there's two different kinds. I think
Yeah.
so. He
Yeah.
might just think that she's talking regular
Yeah.
astrology. But,
Yeah. And that's fine. It's just fun to listen to. It's always entertaining.
I know. I know. So Deb says different charts show her moon in Pisces or Aquarius. How does she tell which one's correct? That's strange.
Now, are you looking at this from Vedic to tropical or Western astrology, or you mean in
In one. Yeah,
one?
like the Western. Yeah.
Because
Which one, Deb?
if you're near the end of Aquarius and you change the time of day that you were born, let's see.
Yeah.
You can that would push your moon into Pisces if the time changes. So you have to be very clear about the time of day that you were born. Without having an accurate birth time, then you have to do a process that we call rectification, where you go through your life and you figure out where were certain planets at certain key moments of your life. You draw up charts for all those moments, and then you can kind of rectify or guess really what time of day. I've done it for people. It's a lot of work. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I bet it is.
But when you get to the right time, and then they have their chart that's really their chart, and like for Deb, it would be figuring out really where is my moon. It's kind of a relief, and it explains things for them and kind of gives them I don't know, it's supportive in a way.
It is. I agree.
Supportive.
And I find that some of the people that are closest to me, like my best friend, she's a Pisces with, I think she's a Libra rising. So, no wonder we get along, because I'm a Pisces moon, Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful.
It is a good match. Yeah. And my husband also has a Capricorn rising. He's a Gemini, but it's just neat to know what people have that might be the reason you've connected so well.
Yeah. It is. It's fun. Yeah.
It is fun. It sounds like fun. All right. Deb says Western astrology is where she found the difference between Aquarius and Pisces.
And what I would say, Deb, is if you're getting the chart done online by one of the services that's just for a free chart, some of those software applications can come up with different positions. So what I would do is go on the website yourself. Like I use either astro.com or astrotheme.com.
I use that too. I love it.
They're free, and you can put your time in, and hopefully you have a good birth time. It's not just like, oh yeah, my mom said I was born sometime in the afternoon. That's not going to get you the right chart. You really need to have a pretty exact
need to know the time. But Julie asks, do you need to know with it, is 15-minute window okay? Something like that?
It's okay, but it's not going to be exactly, because the moon travels fast. The moon goes through a sign in 2.5 days. So it's moving pretty quickly. So that 15 minutes can make somewhat of a difference. With the moon. Yeah. And when you're looking at, is this person that I'm thinking of, say, going into business, I want my moon to really be good with their moon, because otherwise we're going to have friction and it's not going to be, there's going to be problems down the road. So moons are very sensitive and important.
Yep.
So
Yep.
in that respect, it makes a difference.
Okay. That's good to know. I didn't know it was the moon we were looking at, but I guess it's an emotional thing. So that's why.
Yeah. Now I'm looking at Julie's comment. Her mother can't remember if she was born at 6:46 or 6:56. What I would do in that case, Julie, is we would do charts for both times, and then we would go back and look at certain times in your life and see if that chart made sense at those different times in your life.
Okay. That does make sense.
You have to figure it out, or can your mom just find your birth certificate, or can you find
I know that's what MK Karen said. Isn't it on your birth certificate? Yeah.
Well,
basically.
In certain places they have I think stopped putting it on, which is really a shame, because you should know that. And in a lot of places you'll have two birth certificates. You'll have the one that's filed with your municipality, and you'll have one that's filed at the hospital. And what I found for my generation, for people born in the 50s and 60s, maybe even the early 70s, that the time at the hospital is always there, and it may or may not be on the municipality birth chart or birth.
Okay.
But you can for a lot of birth certificates, you can go online for your municipality, and you can see the birth certificate, and if you want a copy you have to pay for it, but you can see it online for free.
Just it gives you the time. That's right. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so she says then Pisces moon would be right. So that's like me, Deb. So that's why you and I get along okay, huh? And somebody else said they were a Pisces moon too. Who else is a Pisces moon?
You're probably attracting so many Pisces.
MK Karen, maybe. Maybe I am. MK Karen, you mean you're a Pisces moon, or you're a Pisces? Well, that would matter too, though, right? It would matter that, yeah. Oh, Julie doesn't have a time on her birth certificate, and the hospital you were born in is closed, but the city that you were born in isn't gone. So you can write to the registry at the city you were born in, and they should have your birth certificate on file. So
I wonder what happens when a hospital actually closes, what they do with they got to do something with all those medical records. They can't just
you can't just throw them away. Here,
because then people could go and get fake Social Security cards and fake passports, and because birth certificates are really worth something, so
they are. And now I remember when I was trying to change my name on my Social Security card, I had to have it to prove what it was changed from and so on. And I had to pay for it and get it. And I've been around a while, so, it isn't too bad. Marlene says she's a Sag and her horoscopes never apply to her. Why?
I'll tell you exactly why. Because Sagittarius is your sun sign, and where your sun sign is in your chart determines how much you feel like a Sag or not. The time of day that you were born determines your rising sign, and very often that's the stronger sign that you resonate to. Like, I'm a Libra, and I'm born at 2:08 in the afternoon. My rising sign is Capricorn. I resonate to Capricorn a lot. It's not that I don't resonate to Libra. I certainly do. I like pretty clothes, and I like makeup, and I like to have my hair done and my nails and everything. But, and I also like to argue. But, but Capricorn, if you look at my life and how I conduct my life, I'm very much Capricorn.
Very much
all about business. And so you may have something rising that, like, Libra and Capricorn are at odds with each other. Those signs square each other. So a lot of people are like, when I first met you, I thought you were this, that, or the other thing. But as I got to know you, you're really different. And it may be the same with you. You may have something rising that is much different than Sagittarius. Like one of the other mutable signs, like Pisces, Gemini, or Virgo, which would also explain that kind of disconnect, because they're very different than Sagittarius. or just something different. I mean, you could be Leo rising for all I know.
That's very true. And, she says December 2nd and the time, but I think it's interesting when Colleen said what time she was born, I nearly fell off my chair because I was born at 2:10 in the afternoon.
Well,
and so,
Libras.
but
it just Capricorn rising. So of course we're going to be born at a similar time.
Really? Always?
Yeah. Yes,
always?
Oh,
yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't have it.
If you're when you're born at the time of year, say now it's Libra, right? So according to Western astrology, not Vedic, but Western, at sunrise, when we see the sun rising, if we were standing on a part of the earth with a telescope pointing to the eastern horizon and looking at, and if we could see the constellation of stars, well, Vedic, they would actually see the constellation of stars, but Western, we pretend we're seeing the constellation of stars. That's the constellation of Libra would be rising at sunrise, right? So everybody born at sunrise is going to be a Libra. But if you're born later in the day,
I get you.
A few signs
That's
later.
Fabulous. I had no idea. And
so
a lot of us that were born in the afternoon have a Capricorn rising, and
if you're Libra, yes.
If you're Libra.
If you're a Scorpio, you'd have something more like an Aquarius rising or something.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Just fascinating. You're like an open astrology book that knows all this. It's wonderful. I just think it's wonderful.
I do teach astrology.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, and I really love teaching it because these concepts to me are just really bread and butter, nuts and bolts, really basic stuff, but you have to understand the mechanics of it. And if you understand the mechanics of it, then the more esoteric pieces of it are so much easier to grasp. Just knowing that when they're saying rising sign, they're literally meaning what's rising on the eastern horizon when I was born. That's a wild concept. Most people don't think of that. They're thinking, I don't know. How do you figure this out? This is very strange, Yeah. It's just what's rising on the eastern horizon.
All right. So, Kay, you must have just recently had your birthday, but the Cancer rising shows you were born later in the day. Wonderful. I am sorry. I keep turning around. My little puppy is driving me crazy. So I'm going to go put her in a crate and let you talk to these folks for just a minute. I'm sorry.
So Kay Scarborough, yeah. So you're born almost at midnight, which is not quite 12 hours after me and Aley. But you can see you're opposite us. You're Cancer. That's the opposite sign to us. So that makes sense. It all makes sense. It also has to do with the place on the planet that you were born. Like I was born in Seattle. And I don't know. Where were you born, Aley? On the West Coast?
No, I was born in Massachusetts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So very interesting that, because I was born in Seattle. And
that's where I am now.
Yeah.
And you're on the East Coast.
Isn't that weird?
It is.
It's just weird.
Yeah. Wow. So I'm going to let her. I'd like her to talk about the full moon tonight when we get to it. But I wondered if anybody else had any questions for her. But, there's other things I can talk about with her as well. But this is how I kind of do it. I riff. I go from one thing to another.
Okay.
And of course, if you've got something that you would like to share with us, things that you do. I just love the fact that I'm very comfortable with being a crone. I love the word. A lot of people think it's an ugly old hag, and I think it's a beautiful, wise woman. And so think about that, everybody. If it just means you can't have kids anymore. That's all it means.
That's
Happy
right.
birthday to us.
Yes, okay. Thank you. Thanks very much. You too. Back at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I thought up the name of the channel about 4 or 5 years ago. And I had a lot of people at the time who were encouraging me to start a YouTube channel. And I just wasn't ready. I wanted to do it so bad, but I just wasn't ready. I just couldn't wrap my head around, what exactly would I put on the channel and what would I do? And I probably made it way more complicated than it needed to be, but I just wasn't ready. And I knew that I had to name it. And I had, I've had my business really of doing astrology and card reading and all that stuff off and on for years, and most of the time on. And I knew I wanted to do that. So for that business, I started the Cool Crone.
Okay.
And people were like, what is that? What does that even mean? So I would explain it to them. My sister was like, what? The cool chrome? Like on a car? And I was like, Kathy, are you really my sister? You've known me all this time and you don't know what a crone is? And she's like, no, what is it? And I said, it's you. You're a crone. You're 5 years old.
You're a crone, right? Because she's older than you.
Right. So I hung on to the name. I really liked the name. And also my birth name, my initials are CC. So I liked that it had the same initials as that.
Uh-huh.
So I just had all these things that went around it, and I really liked it. But when I finally bit the bullet and started the YouTube channel, I said, I'm going to name it the Cool Crone. And again, all my friends are just like, really? Are you sure? Nobody's going to know what it is. And I said, yeah, but the ones who do know are going to watch.
You're going to bring the right people to you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so,
absolutely.
Yeah. So
I've had people be insulted by when I say you're a crone too. They're like, no, I'm not. And I'm like, yes, you are.
Yeah. Well, it's like the word witch. I think we have to use the word witch over and over and over again so that people get over it. It is not a bad thing. It is not just a substitute for the B word. It's not a substitute. It's it's what we are. We're wise women. We are all wise women. And if we claim that and stop being embarrassed by that word, then, the world, we have world peace, for God's sake. I mean,
I know.
Everything.
Absolutely.
We could just fix everything. People just accepted the power that they really have inside of them,
Absolutely. The Native Americans have the Council of 13 Grandmothers, and the women rule the Native American tribes, or they have for years and years.
Yeah.
And the men just accepted that these women were the wise women, and there was no problem with that. So we have had a long history of that. See, now Flowing says she's a crone, and Purple Elephant says she's a crone. So. Oh boy, I didn't know that it would cost $100 to get a birth certificate. You don't have to get one though. If you could see it, it will tell you your time. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's nuts that they're charging that much money, because I mean, I know when I had to replace my birth certificate a few years ago because I needed to update my passport, and I changed my name like 4 times and just all sorts of stuff. And I had to pay for it too. And I just thought, that's why. Yeah. You're doing that just because I have to get it because I need it for identification.
Right.
That's
so we're going to sucker these people into paying for this, because they need it.
It's really mean. It's really mean.
It is mean.
You could just see the time on the online usually.
You can usually.
You got it.
Even what is it? Even if you go to ancestry.com, I believe you can look up the birth record.
Oh, wow. I never thought of that. So. That's a very clever idea.
Yeah.
But don't you have to pay to be on ancestor.com too?
Yes, but if you don't want to stay, you can do a 7-day and then cancel it, I guess.
And it's probably not even $100. So at least you'd have a better deal that way.
Yeah, that's true.
$100, that's nuts.
I understand where there are people, Kay Scarborough, I understand refusing to be a crone, but it's really, I think the problem with it might come from the fact that we've had a negative connotation, just like the witch is a negative connotation for so long. And the other thing is, we like to think, and I like to think of myself as just being a wise woman and no age, no labeling, but I really do embrace it. I think that my life is much better as I've gotten older than it was when I was younger, when I was a maiden, or a mother.
Like you said before, it does just mean not being able to have kids yet. And that's a very emotional issue for most women. It was for me, getting through the idea that I will not by my choice, but by my body, I will never be able to have children again. That hit me hard. That was
Did it really? Yeah.
I was just like, wait a minute, I'm still really cute. I don't want to I don't want to think of myself as somebody nobody's going to want to like be with or anything.
Oh, that's funny. Everybody's got a different idea. Now, with me, when I had my son, I was 29 years old, and I had so many problems with men. And both times I was pregnant, my ex-husbands were out running around and all that. And I said, no more children, ever, ever. Tie me up. And they did. I was 29. They won't do that now. They won't do that for anybody. But they did it for me, and I never regretted it. Never. Not 1 minute. It was like, I'm done with this BS.
Well, it was freedom for you.
It was
freedom.
It was.
Yeah, I get it.
And I ended up getting married twice after that. So it wasn't, nobody cared that I couldn't have a child at that time either.
Yeah.
But it's all individual. It's all of us.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree with you. A matron sounds, it's like when someone says, I have an elderly lady here.
Yes. Yes.
And I know they're just being the way that the society is, but I don't feel elderly, but I don't take offense to it either.
Yeah. Well, some mornings I feel elderly, but it's just the morning, once I get the legs moving, then I'm okay. But
I know.
We
feel it.
Matron is such a, I don't know. That's my grandmother was a matron. I'm not a matron,
Right. Yeah.
Even though I'm probably.
Well, some of our teachers were very matronly, the way they dressed, and they were prudes, a lot of them, I'm sure, at that time.
Yeah. I don't know. I know that with the planets moving all through Aquarius and Pisces, these things are going to change dramatically over the next 5 to 10 years. In 5 years,
tell us a little bit about it, Colleen.
It's not going to be that big of a deal. Well, Jupiter, has gone through Aquarius. At the end of the year, it's going to go into Pisces. So we have a couple more months of Jupiter in Aquarius. And this is opening up people's minds and their hearts, because Jupiter is generosity.
Yes.
And expansion and help and luck and joy and money. But wherever Jupiter hits, it expands. And the sign of Aquarius is the masses. It's the people. It is the individual and eccentricity, but it's also the masses, and when Jupiter touches that Aquarius sign, we have charities opening up. We have money in the coffers. We have the government saying, let me help you. When we just had Jupiter in Aquarius a few months ago, that's when we got all those stimulus checks.
You're right.
And then it went into Pisces, and then the whole crazy, and then
it
retrograded back in. And now it's we're gonna get some of that love and come out of this sort of Dickensian weird government thing that we're in right now.
Thank you. Right.
Saturn is in Aquarius too, and that's very good. Saturn is the government. It rules government and or large organizations like the military and things like that. And it's in Aquarius too. So it's going to give a structure to these things that will be long lasting, because Saturn rules time, and anything that Saturn really brings about lasts a long time. So that's really, really going to be good. Yeah. Really good. Now we also, though, Saturn and Uranus are headed for their third square and final square of the year of their cycle, actually the final square of their cycle, on Christmas Eve. And that's going to be very interesting. It's not from what I'm looking at, I don't think there's going to be like violence or anything like that. I think it is going to be a remarkable Christmas. I think it's going to be a really, really remarkable couple of days there for the holidays. And I hope that it means that things will improve suddenly and surprisingly, because that's Uranus too. Because it doesn't look like there's very many really bad, aspects around that time. Plus, we have Jupiter going into Pisces right after that. So that's beautiful. Now, Jupiter in Pisces, I think, is even better for us than Jupiter in Aquarius, because Jupiter in Pisces is, extreme love, spiritual love, higher mysteries, higher learning, with this much more enlightened attitude about everything. And I'm so looking forward to that.
We need that so badly.
Oh my God,
honestly. Yes.
The
It's
attitudes of our leaders have just been
been
so,
terrible.
just
Yeah.
look down here and
Yeah.
over me, you know, it's just, ugh.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
so
like a puppet master
yeah,
too. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And it's
Well,
awful.
and that's been Pisces retrograde or Neptune retrograde. Neptune's
Oh,
been hiding, you know, keeping a nice cover, all of that corruption and all the secrets and all the, you know,
right.
I'll wash your hand if you wash my hand, all that crap,
Oh
and all
God.
that coming out. And then we have
Okay.
Pluto coming up to the United States. Pluto return
I know.
on February 20th. It touches that first connection, and that's going to be a big wow as well.
I'm a little concerned about that one. Should I be?
Well, I don't know how much it's going to affect people in a personal way. I think it's going to
Okay.
affect, I think it's going to affect the country a great deal.
That's where I'm afraid. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big seismic shift for the country, but Pluto, although it is powerful, unless it's setting off an atom bomb, you know, it's
Right.
not
Right.
really right now. And it's got to
Uh-huh.
have the cooperation from other planets in order to do something sudden. So it would need to
Okay.
have an interference with Mars and Uranus in order for it to really be right
For
now.
real. Okay.
And I don't see that. So I think it's going to be very interesting. I think there's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out. I think that's going to be when we really start peeling back the onion and seeing just how bad things had been,
That
probably
we didn't know. Yeah.
probably under the former administration and even before that, because you know
Sure.
Pluto is completing an 18-year cycle in
Okay.
Capricorn. So
Yeah.
I mean, going back almost 20 years, we're going to be seeing things that were really messed up that
Right.
just continued and got worse under
Sure.
this cycle. And now hopefully things will change. So 2022 is just going to be an awesome year. There's just a
Oh
lot
wow, that's great.
of
All those
amazing.
twos, right? All those
Yeah.
twos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All those
Uh-huh.
twos. So that's a lot of choices. A lot
That's
of
a lot of
choices.
choices. Yeah.
That'd be
Wow.
very interesting. Yeah.
It is. Well, it's interesting that you mention I'm so glad you explained it. You actually explained it really well, because I know a lot of people that don't know astrology get so confused with trines and this and that and conjunctions, and you just work with the planets to explain what you did, which was helpful. But I am in the midst of doing this series on resilience on YouTube in the face of COVID and fascism, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing people coming from their introverted lives and coming out and having channels, doing work they never thought they would do, like you with the YouTube thing, you know. And somebody told me also that about 10 years ago, they had started on YouTube or wanted to, and they were pushed completely out at that time. And that was that because people weren't ready for it, I guess.
Yeah.
And so but what you're seeing here, at least in my experience, and also the experience of those that are subscribers that are subscribed to other channels as well, is this community that's supportive and loving and caring and kind and absolutely unbelievable. You know?
Yeah. I see two things happening there. I see people who already had gifts, but were, you know, probably empaths and just too sensitive to be out there. They would get overstimulated by being so sensitive, and they just had to protect themselves. And now they've learned either how to protect themselves, or they just feel so compelled to help that they're out there anyway. But then you also have the larger population that is all of a sudden saying, I need the help. I need you. I have opened my mouth. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to feel better. And plus, we just have such a huge number of people who have anxiety and depression, and they're so worried about the future. And it's like, whoa, you know, the life isn't that dark. You know, it can be pretty good, but you do have to protect yourself psychically. You do have to kind of reach for that golden ring in your own life and just, you know, be your own advocate and help yourself. there is a lot of people that can help you. And
There are.
it's a beautiful community. What I love most about it is that you'll hear people very frequently spreading messages of love and light, just throwing it out, in the middle of a paragraph, just like, oh yeah, love and light to you. That's so important.
It is.
Also not being really super competitive with one another.
That's right. That's right. More collaborative.
Yeah,
right.
I
Yes.
love that. I love that.
Oh, I do too. Absolutely. Because that's the 5D is collaboration, really. And the 3D is a fear-based competition, really. And as Americans, we're in that Western outlook where everything is a competition. My team's better than yours. My thing is bigger than yours, all that stuff. And, when you embrace some of the Eastern philosophies or the philosophies of the Native Americans or whatever, you're finding, that those little gems have always said, love the other person, but take care of yourself first, of course.
Now that's another thing that relates to the cycle that we're in with Saturn and Uranus. Saturn and Uranus started their conjunction back in 1988 in the sign of Sagittarius. I don't think you can get more competitive than Sagittarius, And
look what happened in the 90s. Yeah.
Right. And so we're at the ending stages of that. That finally, I can't remember what year it is, but we have probably about 4 or 5 years left of that, but it's at the downside of it. So that's falling away. And then we'll have the next conjunction that they have is in the sign of Gemini, which is so cool. Like,
it is cool.
Asexual, like, who cares what your sexual orientation is? Who cares what you look like? Who cares how old you are? Who cares? Who cares? But learning, communication.
Definitely.
And that kind of like almost squirrel mind where everything is exciting and you just keep getting distracted by all the wonderful, exciting things going on. So cool to have all of this on YouTube, because that's what YouTube needs to really grow, is people being so excited by each new thing that comes out, right? And
absolutely.
I'm very excited for this. I just think it's so exciting that it
really is. It's not wallowing in that negativity, even though with the political stuff at the time, people needed to know what was going to happen or but now it's past. We're past. I mean, we still have political problems, but we're working more now on community building. I think I can see it. And, if somebody said to me, for instance, oh, I need a reader, who can I go to? Then I can give them some names of where to go to, or check out this. This is why I do what I do with the channels. I want to introduce people that other people can check out and enjoy just as much as they do others, So makes it really nice. Makes it really nice. Good. We got Flowing already just subscribed to your channel. Thank you for doing that. Thank you so much. I have wonderful subscribers who, if they are not subscribed already, then they are very good about that. And they like you. They like you.
Great.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic. Yeah. One of the things when I did first begin my channel is I thought, well, I have to do political tarot and political.
I think everybody did.
I have to. And I have a few videos back from 2020 that I did some of that, and it was okay. But I really like when my daughter started helping me with the channel shortly after that. And she said, you don't need to do the political thing. It seems like you're not 100% comfortable with it. So why don't you try just not doing that? And I was like, yeah, maybe I'm kind of like over it. And I like watching the people who do it, but I don't want to do it because I
don't blame you. Yeah.
There's too much judging going on. And I'm a Capricorn rising. I'm already a person that it's natural for me to judge. And I fight every day trying not to be so judgmental.
Oh, no. Yeah, I had to really dig into that myself. And I feel so much better, really. Because I think my Pisces moon helps me, though. It makes me realize that I don't need to. And so I haven't been. I even tell my students, you're not going to agree with everything I say. And I'm not going to agree with everything you say. But we have the right to say it.
Well, that's
and
beautiful. Yeah,
it is. You have to be that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is great. Moonrise Mystic Tarot. I love that. Evolving Consciousness. I already do a lot of squirrel. Thank you for the info. That's
Thank you.
cool.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Jen T. I recognize her name. Hi. How are
Oh,
you?
Genty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She is.
All
She
right.
did subscribe to me before.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty much sick of the doom and gloom of politics as well. Although there's some things I'd like to know. Um, I don't know, just for my own satisfaction, but that doesn't mean it will come to pass either, because readings can change. It's
Yeah.
just the energy right now. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Tiara just subscribed as well. Thank you, Tiara. Very good. Yeah, I
thanks.
got some great
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah. I know I did. I'm working on November tarot scopes right now. And
Good.
some of the readings, when I get done with them, I just feel like I have to apologize. I'm like, oh, this isn't really very uplifting, but it's stuff you should know.
Yeah, yeah.
You need to know it. It'll be
Uh-huh.
better next month. I'm always trying to make it better.
Sure.
That's
Keep
leave
it
it in
positive.
here.
But
Yeah.
I remember once somebody said, "Listen, if I tell you that if you go out, you're going to fall off a horse on this day, then you just don't get on the horse that day." It's kind of
Yeah.
like, this may be
Yeah.
a crappy day, but it's not going to stay that way. Everything changes.
Yeah.
Everything changes.
Yeah. And I do try, like, especially with, I noticed this last I think it actually was for this full moon for today in
Uh-huh.
the videos that I did. I was like, okay, you guys got to meditate on this, and this. This will help you for the full moon, because it's a rough
Okay.
full moon. It's a really rough moon. And I mean, look, we
Okay.
just lost Colin Powell.
I know.
I got to work today and I found out that a secretary in one of our offices was found dead in the ladies' room yesterday. And I was
Oh
like,
my God. Do they
I
know
know,
why? Do they know
heart
why?
attack, heart
Oh, she
attack.
had a heart attack?
Yeah, and just
Oh,
keeled over.
that's so
And
sad.
I
That's
know.
awful.
And I just thought back to doing the videos for the full moon, and I can't tell you how many times the word death came out of my mouth. And I was just like, ugh, I don't really want to be right about that. But
death is also change, correct?
yes,
Yeah.
I did emphasize that there's there's a
Okay.
lot of things that
Sure.
are because it was Pluto, because transformation and change
Right.
and death and
Yeah.
destroying that which is weak. And that's always good, to get rid of the weak stuff and build it up new. But it's like, these are some, this is a rough moon. I mean, we're probably going to hear about more things like that in the days to come that happened between Monday and today, Wednesday. So,
Well, I don't know if you just saw the news, but they think they found Brian Landry. And
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They found him in an area of that place that they were looking, but it was covered with water, and it just it dissipated, and so the cadaver dogs found a body. They haven't said for sure, but his notebook was there, his backpack was there, so it's probably him.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't. That almost just screams to me that he was guilty. I mean, I always try to keep the benefit of the doubt, but after seeing the Utah tape, he was pretty manipulative. Reminds me of somebody I used to know, was exactly that way and came up smelling like a rose in front of everybody else. But was really creepy. So
that's
yes,
rough. That's really rough. Yeah, that's too bad.
Anyway, yeah. So. Yeah, she initially didn't like the death card, but yes, that's the way I see it. Oh, I'm sorry, Andrea. It's the Cool Crone. That's the name of Colleen's channel.
Yes.
Please subscribe. Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about the full moon before we sign off this afternoon.
All right. So this full moon, the sun is right next to Mars, and Mars is a very hot planet. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So when you couple the sun with Mars, they're both hot. The sun is a ball of fire.
Sure.
And then you have Mars next to it.
Absolutely.
A ball of fire. So energy coming into this moon was very, very heated. And then it's all squaring Pluto. Squares are difficulties and challenges, and they're opportunities too, if you know how to use them. But in this instance, it can mean destruction. It can mean death, but it can also mean, breaking down of something that was just, it's time to go,
Right.
that particular structure, it's time to go. So but the thing that is difficult with this is that the moon is involved. It's a full moon, right? So the moon is across the sky from the sun and Mars, and then 90-degree angle to all of it is Pluto. It's called a T-square. Not a happy thing to have happening on a full moon. You've already got people cuckoo from the full moon itself.
Right.
Then you have all this. You do. They're cuckoo.
You do.
And then you have Mars. So now everybody's hot and cuckoo. And then you throw in death or Pluto or destruction or transformation.
Right.
So, I mean, I just was not, when I heard about this woman's death, I cried.
I bet you did. What a place to die, in a bathroom at work, Oh my God.
Such a lovely, lovely person. And and then I thought about her family, whatever. But
of course, yes.
But I had to say I wasn't surprised that I heard about the death. Not that I was surprised that it was her. Surprised that there was death. And even with Colin Powell, I was not surprised that I heard about his death. I just felt like, So I think that this full moon is also going to dig in. I think that heat is going to kind of like dig into some of the things that are going wrong right now, which could be a good thing. That could kind of help us out a little bit. And the people who are trying to get things to go in a more positive direction, maybe they can use some of that heat to kind of push things in a positive direction.
Right.
But what I had told people to do before the full moon, and it's not too late to do it, is to meditate on your base chakra.
Okay.
So that you are very secure,
grounded,
confident, so that Pluto energy, that destructive energy, doesn't come for you, doesn't make you feel shaken like you can't do what you need to do, especially if you are a cardinal sign, an Aries, Libra, Cancer, or Capricorn. So if you're any of those cardinal signs, this is really hitting you.
It is
following cardinal signs. So, and also to meditate on the planet Jupiter and Mercury, which both of them just went direct on Monday.
Right.
That's a cosmic shift too.
Sure,
Jupiter,
it is.
With its enlightenment, and Mercury with communication. It's just a golden opportunity to really
focus on
that enlightened energy and to bring it into yourself and to protect yourself. Jupiter is protection too. So along with that base chakra meditation, that Jupiter can help with the protection of quite a bit. And then whatever happens as the fallout from this full moon, you'll be okay. You'll be fine. You'll be protected.
Well, I've been feeling it between the retrograde, because we're trying to buy a practice and we're just going back and forth, and it's just become a real cluster F. Yeah. And so, I'm feeling it more than my husband, even because he's a Gemini, I'm a Cardinal, I'm a Libra. So as I can get through it. The other thing I decided, I was going to run out to the store. And the other thing I decided is I think I'm just going to stay here for the day. And tomorrow I'll go to the store. I don't need to go today. Yeah.
Better. That's a better idea.
It is a better idea. So my people, I love you and want you to get to your 1,000 subscribers.
Yay,
and they're working on it. And it's down to you only needing 20 more.
Oh my God.
I know. So, and of course, people will watch this later. So we're going to tell them, go to Cool Crone and subscribe, and then you'll get your 1,000 and you'll get all your benefits with that.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. No, that's one. I have some really, like I said, really great people here that are so loving and kind. Yes, absolutely.
You seem to have a great tribe, Aley.
You do have a great tribe. Yes, and a lot of them will be your tribe too. That's just the way these ladies are. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. That's great.
Oh, you're most welcome. So you haven't done any lives. You just mostly tape yours, correct?
Yes, I do. I tape mine. I'm too afraid to do lives.
That's what this is. See how much fun it can be?
Yes, it's very fun. It is very fun. It is. Yeah. I like the interaction with the people in the chat. That I really love that.
Yeah. It's like you don't have to You don't have to make, you can answer some questions and you don't have to wonder what to say next. Dozen Cats for me wants to know how long the full moon is just one day, right? It's just tomorrow, today?
The influence of the full moon is 2.5 days. All the moon.
Oh, 2.5.
Yep,
Okay.
takes about 2.5 days for the moon to get through all the signs. Now, here's the thing about this full moon is it's at the very end of Aries. So
okay.
I can't do the math and figure out how quickly, but probably by now, maybe it's already in the next sign. It's already in Taurus. So this is a particularly nice full moon because even though you start with that bang of all that cardinal energy,
hot energy,
a few hours later, it's sliding into Taurus, which is the best moon of the zodiac. Moon in Taurus is the best. It's just absolutely the best place to have the moon, unless you have moon in Cancer. That's a pretty good one too. But moon in Taurus, it's exalted, it's calm, it's nurturing, it's steady, it's loyal, it's beautiful, it's languorous and happy. It's just, I love it.
Wow.
So, you'll be feeling that by, now by dinner time. I'm in dinner time. So,
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So it's really nice. It's a good moon. But for the next couple of days, you can still use the energy of this full moon if you're doing, I don't know, spell work or meditations or just, contemplating and doing some, taking a hot bath. You can use that energy from the full moon tonight, tomorrow, and into
awesome
Friday morning. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I got one more question and one more comment. Okay. This is funny. Sin says, does that mean Taurus sun can win the lottery? Just
entertainment only YouTube. Oh yeah.
That's
sure.
Right. Carolyn wonders how to protect or guide or support her daughters with this full moon. If you have any tips for that.
If they're cardinal signs, maybe you want to sit them down and have them do just a very short little quick meditation on the root chakra. And the way you would do that is for them just to imagine that in the back of their spine, not in the front, but in the back where the base of their spine is, that they have a red ball of light, of warmth. And as they focus on that ball, have them get the ball start spinning clockwise. So it would be right on their bum, right at the very top of their bum, right? And as they spin and let that ball get bigger, a little bit bigger and warmer, that's it. That's all they really have to do. That will energize their base chakra and just make them feel safe and secure.
Wow. I'm going to try that as soon as we're done. I love that. Yeah, that's awesome. Good. Colleen, I can't thank you enough. It's been wonderful. So you're just so much wisdom and information sharing, and I just really loved having you.
Thank you. I knew this was going to be really fun, Aley, because we're both Libras.
We're both Libras with Capricorn risings.
What's that for like? Yeah.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for being so kind to Colleen and signing up for her. Oh, Melinda says you only need 15 more now. There you go.
Oh, that's so exciting. Thank you.
I know.
I want to say a big, big thank you to all your tribe. They just, I'm overwhelmed. I really am. That's just amazing. Thank you so much.
I'm so happy that worked out, Colleen, really, because, we need to support each other. So thank you. Thanks, everybody. You have a good day. See you later.